Updated titles. Okay. And then tweet.
You know what the real awkward thing is going to be?
So what?
Is if Jin hops into the live show, just like, wait, what?
You're not supposed to be here.
It's like, is it Patreon episode already? It's like, no.
I appreciate you joining me for my episode.
So you don't have to film alone.
Pretty much. That and like, I mean, I'm helping out with yours, but it's only just recording.
That's true.
Ugh. Is it because Tom's on vacation that week?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I know we talked about he was going on a vacay.
A personal vacay. Just him.
Just
No one
him?
else.
What? No.
All right.
Get a couple more minutes, like another minute or so. What the? Thank you, Twitch, for letting me know I went live.
I guess it's a good thing I'm not playing D&D this week.
You normally do that on Friday?
Yeah, we were doing every other.
Hmm.
I guess we just decided like yesterday to do every Friday, but not this Friday because Blix is on, or like got on a plane at like 6:15 or something. I was like, oh okay, yeah, that's in the middle of our time.
Ah.
So, but I guess from now on, I play too many games, dude. That's just really what it is. So I have a game on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays.
Dear God. That's too much. I mean,
like playing tabletops.
Rob is is making a homebrew Elder Scrolls D&D campaign. So, and he's wanting he wants like people from the Lorecasters Guild to like, hey, we need to get together and do like a D&D night, but in Elder Scrolls. And it's like, all right, so when and where?
Is Rob DMing? Because like,
I think he's DMing. I think he said he was gonna DM it. I know he's DM'd games before. Him and Dave will done D&D campaigns all the time before, apparently. I'm only ever DM'd. I've never played an actual game myself.
oh nice.
So I want to do something different to where I'm involved and not screwing over the party, even though it's the most fun.
I've DM'd a few times, but most of my stuff is me playing.
But alright, I got 8:03. I say let's get this started. Alright.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends, where we're going to take a deep dive into the lore of the Star Wars universe. Welcome everyone to another episode of Holocron Histories. I am one of your hosts, Ben of Temeria, and with me today, so Teacup had some unfortunate stuff he had to take care of in his personal life and all that. So I have the one and only Toastie taking over as my temporary host for this week. How you doing, Toastie?
You know, I'm here. I'm here. That's all I can really say for the most part.
That's fair. I mean, going from the Witcher universe all the way to Star Wars is kind of a big gap.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I know probably like a decent amount of Star Wars knowledge, but I'm definitely not like the dude to do a podcast on it. But I'm here. I'm here to lend moral support.
And I appreciate that. So, yeah, this week we are going to be going over the last of our crime syndicates for this, our running themes we've been doing. We are going to be going over the Black Sun Crime Syndicate. And to start us off, so we're going to always start with legends. So, with the formation of the Black Suns, the Black Sun was formed at the end of the Great Galactic War after the sacking of Coruscant in 3653 BBY. The Galactic City soon fell into chaos and rioting, overwhelming the already stretched Coruscant security force. Police officers, taking advantage of the situation, several prominent gangsters joined together, began seizing control of the neighborhoods in the lower levels. So, in previous episodes, the Great Galactic War was the event of Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. So, if you played that, this is the time when the Black Suns were created. And all this giant chaos when the Sith attacked Coruscant. Shocker there. Because Coruscant always gets sacked because Coruscant
Is the trend.
Sadly.
This is Coruscant. This looks like a really attackable planet. Let's go there.
And the sad enough thing is, it's in the inner rim, so it's like one of the most centered like planets in any of the galaxy. If it always gets sacked, change the capital, or Republic, put up a better defense. Stop letting everybody on the planet. But anyway, I digress. With this, in reference to the gangsters, denizens of the lower levels coined the phrase better a Black Sun than none. The Black Sun crime syndicate was born. Black Sun quickly carved out of carved out of territory for itself and developed spice and weapon trafficking operations. Through their advance to claim more sectors and holded by the Justicars Brigade, the rioting and looting never stopped within their own territory. In the following years, the Cold War, Black Sun's influence stretched beyond Coruscant, and the game became a galactic criminal syndicate. And the Cold War was a time and period where the Empire and the Republic were basically trying to outdo themselves without actual conflicts, just like the Cold War with the United States and Soviet Russia. Just think of that, but on a galactic scale.
Just like the IRL Cold War.
Yes.
Nice.
But just more on a galactic scale.
My planet is threatening to nuke your planet. Yeah. Or what the heck? What would be the equivalent of a nuke? It's not.
I know. Yeah, it's not really important at the moment, but I know there is one that's equivalent to a nuke, if not more. I mean, you have orbital
strikes.
Yeah, you basically have those. I mean, literally, just have a Star Destroyer just rain down gunfire on the planet. Done.
Yeah.
Everything's leveled. So then the Galactic Senate soon came realize the full situation. The CSF forces, such as the Special Tactical Unit, began actively fighting back to regain the sectors under the Black Sun's control. It was during this time that the Republic Strategic Information Service began joint operations with the CSF and the Republic military to counter Black Sun. SIS agent Theron Shan tracked a small cell of criminals consisting of Tefthith and others on Coruscant in effect to discover who was funding the Black Sun slavery ring. Around this time, the Syndicate acquired materials to create disruptor rifles and individual dispatch of an associate of the heirs to a fake trade to expose Black Sun's dealers. So, and then if the name Theron Shan rings any bells, he is a prominent character in the Star Wars The Old Republic series. In the MMO and even in the books. I know he's actually a main character in one of the books. So, it's always fun.
This is where Teacup would make a comment about the book, because he's definitely read it, but unfortunately, I have not. I mean, it seems like he's read every Star Wars book in existence, honestly.
It seems like it, but no.
It seems, oh, okay. Well,
There's
he
too
does a
many.
good job of pretending it.
Hopefully he doesn't hear that.
Oh, he better.
Anyway, now we get to the late Republic era. Although headquartered on Coruscant, the influence of the Black Sun stretched to the length of the galaxy, with tens of thousands of foot soldiers and hundreds of leaders based on safe houses and fortresses across the galaxy. The Syndicate was both covertly and openly a force to be reckoned with on the galactic scale. By 33 BBY, Black Sun had become under the control of Alexei Garn, who was killed by Darth Maul on Lord Sidious's order. Other Vigos fell to the Sith Lord's lightsaber as well, and the organization was severely damaged in accordance with Sidious's plan. It would then later be about a decade before it had recuperated. Recuperated, yeah, words. So we literally start in the time of the Old Republic. Now there hasn't really been anything that significant that they do until literally decades before Phantom Menace starts. Because, Maul comes in and just slaughters people, as Maul does.
Sounds like Maul.
Yeah. During the Clone Wars, Black Sun exploited the Republic's focus on the war to drastically expand its activities. At that time, a faction of the Syndicate was controlled by a cabal of fallen nobles under Zomit Grunstedt, headquartered on Mustafar. After Savage Opress murdered Grunstedt and his ruling council, Zenton Moj assumed control of the faction and pledged allegiance to Darth Maul, and the very man who almost destroyed the Syndicate 13 years prior. So, I had a cough there. So in the previous episode, we talked about Moj in our last episode, where he took control of the Black Sun and joined the Shadow Collective, which I'm about to go into. But yeah, they're headquartered on Mustafar, which is a very recognizable planet, knowing that that's where Anakin lost 3 limbs and built a castle.
All the baddies hang out on Mustafar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once in the Shadow Collective, Death Watch moved into Black Sun's Mustafar weapon stores and equipment to their camp on Zambar in preparation for the planned attack on Sundari. The armed forces commanded by Moj were deemed inefficient for a direct attack. However, they were relocated to Zambar under a significant force and had been assembled. After the Pike Syndicate, which what we talked about last week, heard that Death Watch and the Black Suns were building an army, Lom Pike quickly moved to join the collective. The last to join were the leaders of the Hutt cartel. Stupid Hutts. But the Hutts are always last because they want to see how things play out. But anyway, the Black Sun and the Pike forces, led by Moj and Lom respectively, smuggled themselves into Sundari in crates and launched an attack on the docks as part of the elaborate plan to take the city. Pre Vizsla and his Death Watch warriors faced off against them in shamed conflict, which ended the criminals' display in cuffs before the new Mandalorian crowds in the royal palace. The support of the people allowed Vizsla to oust Duchess Satine Kryze in a quick and bloodless coup. And then, if you know anything about Mandalorians, Pre Vizsla is a very important one during the Clone Wars and through Rebels and through Mandalorian. And we all know Duchess Satine, who is
Obi-Wan Kenobi's girlfriend.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then during the war, the Black Sun dealt extensively with the plant Bota, found only on the planet of Drongar. Originally, Admiral Tarnis Blid, with the main contact with Filba the Hutt for the smuggling. He was later assassinated by Cardid and Neji, following the death of the former operative Mathal. Another partnership was later established with Tutha and Sota Trant to secure the Bota. Upon learning that the Bota was losing its potency, Krayt escaped from the Drongar, with a supply as a gift for his Vigos. It was subsequently discovered that the case was filled with explosives and attempted betrayal by Thula and Trant. And I'm trying to place where all of this happened, but I cannot remember to save my life. Following the war, the Pescoda sabotage droids were acquired by Black Sun, which utilized them in chop shops on Nar Shaddaa. And then the Black Sun was known to have several hideouts in remote, securely populated planets in the Outer Rim territories. Words.
And I'm seeing here that Bota, this plant that they smuggled, was supposed to be like a force boosting plant.
Oh.
Yeah.
It
was.
Oh, I think
could give a Jedi increased force or a stronger connection to the force.
Okay.
It's like, okay, so force drugs, force steroids, basically. They're smuggling. That
sounds like it.
sounds like a pretty significant thing to be smuggling around, to be honest. So
I'd imagine it makes a good profit too. So now we get to the point where the Black Sun had an interest in the Tensari Point Station in 1 ABY, and they had placed 3 bases operations near Orbantel, the Silent Trinity, from which point they would commit acts of piracy against traders and civilians. A team of Black Sun slicers even managed to infiltrate the station. So this is 1 year after the Battle of Yavin, so this is during the original trilogy timeline now.
But we don't see this, and this is in between 4 and 5, correct?
This is after the Battle of Yavin, so this is going to be after 1 year after A New Hope.
Okay, cool.
So it's
and when
between
does the
4
Battle
and
of
5.
Hoth take place? Yeah, okay, cool.
The Battle of Hoth was within the year after Yavin.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, the original trilogy, between 4 and 5, there's not a huge time gap. There's not really a huge time gap in a lot of the original trilogy.
Okay.
So, the Black Sun's dominance in the system changed with the arrival of an unknown spacer brought there by Han Solo and Chewbacca. The spacer ended up being employed by Cardis, who was responsible for law enforcement in and around the station. This proved to be serious consequences for the Black Sun. The spacer was involved in an operation and successfully removed the threat with the slicers, and would also fight against the local Black Sun pirates in the Battle of Tensari Point Station, in which all the Black Sun commanders in the system were killed and most of the local Black Sun wing destroyed. As a result of the battle, the Black Sun presence in the system diminished drastically and their influence disappeared totally. So, they're getting demolished, as most crime syndicates do at some point or another. And then, shortly after, the Black Sun dispatched a heavy fighter and an X-4 gunship, and an X-infiltrated Jabba the Hutt's fugitive droid, RA-316, from the Tatooine system. However, the mission failed and all ships were destroyed by Jabba's pilots. Interesting.
And I guess this Hutt didn't like him.
Jabba did not like them.
Jabba didn't like him. Other Hutts liked him. Jabba did not.
And then later the Black Sun tried to regain some influence in the Bright Jewel system by attempting to purchase the Imperial-class Star Destroyer Blackguard off of rogue Imperial captain called Ondol Sat. So
That
would have
that's
been
potent.
if it went through. Apparently, it probably didn't go through since this is attempt.
Yeah, it was like, dang.
If they got a hold of a Star Destroyer, that's very significant for a crime syndicate.
Yeah, that's insane.
So now we're getting to the Galactic Civil War time. So during the early days of the Galactic Empire, the Black Sun was led by Dal Puri. Through his mantle was soon usurped by a Black Sun Vigo named Zizor. The fallen Crime Lord would lead the Black Sun to an imperiled prestige on the onset of the Galactic Civil War, assisting Prince Zizor from the feminine human replica droid Guri. Guri acted as a bodyguard and assassin for the fallen prince. Under Zizor's leadership, Black Sun became so powerful the prince was considered by some Coruscant courtiers to be surpassed in power only by Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader.
Dang.
And then the Black Sun's influence was tremendous. They had practically a limitless amount of credits, more than enough to finance any operation they wished to complete. They ruled the underworld, and few individuals and organizations dared to cross them or pose a threat to them. Trillions of members were active at this point in time, spread across the galaxy to protect the Black Sun's interest.
So they're like at the height of their power in the Galactic Civil War. Basically.
Yeah, because with all the turmoil and like chaos from the Empire and the rebel forces, it gave a lot of crime syndicates the power and the diversion they need to gain to that power.
Makes sense. I mean, assuming that the Imperial forces are the reason that they don't like rise to power while like the Empire is in power, but then they have to divert all their forces to fighting a rebellion, or rather than taking down crime syndicates. You just thrive in the chaos whenever they can't govern you.
Right. So, and then we get to Zizor also dealt with a rival criminal organization, the Zan Consortium, and Consortium, yeah. And 3 ABY. Zizor hired Tiber Zan, leader of the consortium, to steal titanium gas from a mining facility on Bespin. In actuality, Zizor had laid a trap to dispose of Zan. Well, yeah. And we all know Bespin. Bespin's where Cloud City's at. That's where Cloud City is. So they're basically mining the gas on Cloud City and on the planet. Knowing Vader had recently subjugated the planet and Cloud City, he hoped that the Darth Lord would intercede and eliminate his competitor. Instead, the move backfired on Zizor. Zan betrayed Zizor by planting evidence and pointed responsibility for the theft towards the Black Sun. Vader quickly learned of this, furthering the rift between himself and Zizor. That's the worst. It's like, yeah, I'm going to screw this guy over. Ha! Nope, he's going to screw me over, and not only that, he's going to sick Darth Vader on me.
Yeah, that's a death sentence.
Oh, yes. We all know how powerful Vader is. So then we get to 3 ABY. Zizor had a personal reason to hate Vader after an incident at a biological weapons factory on Zizor's homeworld Fallen. And 7 BBY, the Sith Lord ordered the area and all the contaminated Fallen to be sterilized. The entire area of the living and all living within some 20,000 Fallen including Zizor's family. 200,000 fallen, including Zizor's family, were obliterated to prevent the spread of the deadly disease. It was a small price to pay what could potentially have been, according to Vader, a planet-killing outbreak. So Vader literally ordered a giant massacre. To save, to save millions, I guess.
I mean,
Still.
like, it's not the first massacre he's enacted.
True that. That is true. That is very true. Zizor deleted all records of the family deaths to hide any apparent motives for a grudge against Vader. When Zizor learned that Luke Skywalker was the son of Vader, he planned to kill Skywalker, hoping to permanently discredit Vader in the eyes of the Emperor. Well, obviously that didn't, happen.
I don't see how that plan would have gone in his favor, though. Like if you kill Luke, then like Vader just stays the Emperor's like pet, basically. Like
the Emperor's,
the
Emperor wins.
He never would have rebelled without Luke. Like it would have just made them stronger.
Yep. And then, by the Battle of Hoth, Zizor had found himself and his organization in close dealings with the Emperor as part of a grand scheme to ultimately destroy the rebellion and corrupt Luke Skywalker. Palpatine made good use of Zizor's legitimate enterprise, Zizor Transport Systems, XTS, would contract 300 ships to the Empire to help transport construction material to the Death Star 2's construction site over the sanctuary moon of Endor. So he had a hand in creating the Death Star 2. And then Palpatine's desire to involve the Black Sun in the most personal orchestrations was used the organization as a pawn to plant the secret construction plans to the second Death Star in the hands of the Alliance. Trusting Black Sun, the Alliance would believe the plans they acquired were legitimate. Oh, so they planted fake plans. Interesting. And then shortly after the Battle of Endor, Ororio Transportation tried to usurp control of the spice operations on the Bajik sector controlled by the Tenlos Crime Syndicate, an organization in league with the Black Sun, and a move to both cripple Ororio. Try not to say Oreo. And improve his stock with the Emperor. Zizor informed the Empire of the Ororo shipyard and the Vergesso asteroids being used by the rebellion as a repair dock. And then the Empire, under the personal command of Vader, quickly destroyed the shipyard and majority of the rebel forces there. Simultaneously, Zizor personally dispatched Gyuri to assassinate the leaders of Ororio. In addition, Ace Azaman and Iman Azaman also planted a listening device and got a Black Sun insignia for their troubles, in which the former would be placed in his room as part of his collection. So, some people took some trophies. And then, when Vader finally had the evidence of Zizor's attempt to kill Skywalker, he confronted him in orbit over Coruscant in his personal flagship, the Executor. Vader destroys Zizor's personal skyhook, Fallen Fist, with Zizor aboard. Additionally, Zizor's castle had been destroyed by Skywalker, Leia Organa, Chewbacca, Dash Rendar, and Lando Calrissian. The loss of its leader, and so much of his infrastructure crippled Black Sun to such an extent it would not be recovered for nearly 20 years. So, Vader decimated the guy that hated him, and then the rebellion literally destroyed everything else.
Don't piss off the Skywalkers. Don't go after Luke, dude. You get Vader and Luke. Like, don't. It's bad. It's a bad combination.
Yeah. Just don't.
This is what happens.
In hindsight, just don't mess with the Skywalker. Plain and simple.
He had a good deal. He didn't have to try to kill Luke. He was doing fine for himself.
Yeah, if he didn't go after Luke,
he probably would have been the leading crime syndicate in the entire galaxy. Probably.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah.
And Empire money, like what?
And then now we get to the New Republic and beyond. So this is after the original stuff. Several attempts to restore power of the Syndicate were made, including one of Zizor's niece, Savan, and one of Geodu Dequake? I'll go with that. Who termed his enterprise Black Nebula. So now they're going by Black Nebula, not Black Sun.
I mean, which one's cooler, Ben? Black Nebula or Black Sun?
Black Nebula sounds cooler than Black Sun, personally.
That's fair, yeah. I think I agree. Alright.
And then in 6 ABY, as part of the New Republic's attempt to liberate Coruscant, 16 of the galaxy's most notorious criminals were released from the prison colony on Kessel in order to cause disruptions and were intended to allow infiltration by New Republic agents, including the members of Rogue Squadron. This tactic backfired as the released prisoners, including Zeka Thine and former Moff Fleury Zero, went to successfully resurrect Black Sun. Oh, that's great. Oh, and this is where it's going to get cool. By the time of the Thrawn Crisis and the return of Palpatine, Black Sun was headed by Yul Akib. Working with Grappa the Hutt, he attempted to take control of the Imperial Interim Ruling Council to no avail. So the Thrawn Crisis is, Grand Admiral Thrawn comes from the Unknown Regions, takes over the Empire, but compared to canon, Thrawn does not have a long-lasting history in Legends. He is quickly defeated. Sadly. And then in 24 ABY, so this is way after, Zerthros attempted to bring back the criminal syndicate to its former glory and to dominate the galaxy. He planned to take over by sending spies and operatives in the most key points in it, and sending them all out at once. He sent them to many places, including Calout City, Ord Mantell, Anubis, Kessel, and the Crystal Reef. In their failed Kessel uprising, the new Jedi Order retrieved Zerthros and the signal he planned to send. The New Republic then, one at a time, warned the locals, sent the signal to a planet, and arrested thousands of Black Sun agents across the galaxy, and effectively destroyed the organization. And then in 43 ABY, the new Jedi Order collected clues about a reorganization of the organization. So the new Jedi Order is the Jedi Order that Luke's created after the original trilogy. So if you ever play Star Wars Jedi Outcasts, that's like you're that Jedi Order.
So Luke had a hand in destroying the Black Suns twice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, don't
mess with the Skywalkers. Simple as that.
Don't mess with the Skywalkers.
And then now we get to a very short time of Darth Krayt's Galactic Empire. By the time of the Sith Imperial War and the Second Imperial Civil War, the Black Sun was active again and the structure unchanged over the centuries. I think that's the issue. However, the organization had abandoned its former secrecy and now openly displays the symbol on ships and stations to intimidate rivals and victims. It was dealing in illegal Yuzhong Von weapons, extortion, and particularly active in the Outer Rim, where it was responsible for attacks on Imperial convoys. And eventually, I do want to do an episode on the Yuzhong Von. They are the most terrifying things the Star Wars universe has ever dealt with. To where...
I'm looking at a picture, and this thing looks scary.
So they're force resistance completely. The force does not affect them whatsoever.
Unable to be sensed. Oh my gosh.
It took the Empire and the Republic to actually... Like, the Sith and the Jedi actually had a truce and worked together for the once in like thousands and thousands of years to fight off this alien race that entered their galaxy. And get this, all their weapons were organic.
Yeah, I see this picture here that they have like a staff made of like wood looking kind of. That's so. Oh my gosh. Oh man, the stuff that I'm reading, these are just terrifying.
Right?
Gosh, it's gonna be like you need all the warnings.
They were
in an episode.
They were only in the comics, and with that was the storyline where Chewbacca originally dies in, and he goes out a Wookiee style death to the battle, to the end, everything. Like, he's ripping limbs off left and right and going down, like, taking so many guys after him. But, yeah. I doubt we'll see that in the current canon. I don't know. I mean, because this is... Liu Jianvong was, like, years upon years. Like 100 years after Luke Skywalker. Like, his descendants are the ones dealing with all the crap. Chewbacca's only there because he's a Wookiee.
It'd be like a horror, like,
like
that'd be like a Sam Raimi Star Wars film right there.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's what we got in Legends. So
I mean, it's time for a mid-break, Ben.
It is time for a mid-break. So let's start our mid-break. And now we are in the mid-break of the show. I want to thank everybody who supports the podcast, all of our patrons, including Toastie here with me today, also to Genesis, and also to, I think he goes by Colonel Penguin. Yes, we have another patron, Toastie. Goes by Colonel Penguin.
That's a cool name.
Yes.
I'm cool with it.
And then if you want to support the show, always you can support us financially through Patreon, where you can come on the show once a month or get ad-free episodes. And if you don't, you can always support us by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify. That really helps the podcast, us, grow individually and to help the show out more. And then if you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we will read it on the show. And I don't have any reviews this week. We do have 31 ratings now on Spotify. Nice. So we are getting there. And we have 11 reviews and ratings on Apple. So if you got anybody wants to partake in that, please do. And I think that's all I got for the mid-break. It's pretty short mid-break this week.
My upstairs neighbors are screaming. It's so loud. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Okay.
Well, I guess we can shout out the you can also find us on the Robots Radio Discord and the Cups Podcast and More Discord as well, to where you can find a bunch of shows: Assassin's Creed, Dragon Age, Star Wars, Witcher, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, all the things that anybody would like. We got it, including Toastie's shows.
Yeah, I do. I do the Witcher, which Ben will be on
Monday.
In the next 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah, for the next... Oh my god, it will be the next 2 weeks. Holy crap.
Yep. So, you want to see more Ben, go over there.
Yeah. So, that's all we got for this mid-break. So, let's get back to it. God, I love that sound.
I always laugh at the Will. You gotta laugh.
I have to have the Wilhelm scream. I have to have that in there.
So good.
So now that we're back, we're now going to go into canon. So canon's a little bit more refined, kind of, at least for the Clone Wars era. because the Black Sun had a very pivotal point in the Clone Wars. So during the Clone Wars, the Syndicate was very influential throughout the galaxy and ran by a group of fallen noblemen from a fortress on Mustafar. Well, that didn't change.
Same, yeah.
One of its members was Zero the Hutt. Side tangent, I hate that Hutt with a burning passion.
See, I'm rewatching. I can't remember too much. I've definitely seen I've seen the episode where they like break him out of prison, and I'm like, this dude's like crazy. Like,
he's annoying. Like, that's what he is. He's just a nuisance.
Like a madman.
During the war, Black Sun was coerced by the rogue Sith Lord Maul into joining the Shadow Collective, and after his brother Savage Opress killed their leader, Zoma Grunstead, Black Sun openly maintained a base on Ord Mantell. So a lot of this doesn't change because Clone Wars is canon and Legends, since it was pre-Disney and Disney, because it was done by George Lucas did both. He did Clone Wars, so everything George Lucas created himself is canon when Disney took things over. And it's also Dave Filoni, so there's that.
Fair enough.
Under the direction of the Shadow Collective, Black Sun and the Pike Syndicate participated in the large Battle of Ord Mantell, defending against Separatist attackers led by Count Dooku and Grievous. So that I completely forgot, that they actually fought against the Separatists, which, thinking Cramson guess they would, help the Separatists. Apparently not. And towards the end of the Clone Wars, Black Sun's leader, Zayton Maj, proposed merging with the Pike Syndicate, which specialized in distributing illegal narcotics. When the Pike leader, Marge Krim, rejected his demands, Moj retaliated by kidnapping his family in order to force Krim to change his mind. Krim hired 2 independent bounty hunters, the former Sith apprentice Asajj Ventress and the undercover Jedi Master Quinlan Vos, to rescue his family. The 2 bounty hunters raided the Black Sun fortress on Mustafar and succeeded in rescuing Krim's family. During the rescue mission, Moj and his fallen guards were assaulted by Ventress and Vos. Black Sun retaliated by sending a fleet to attack the Pike stronghold on Obadiah. So, and that happened in one of the books. Teacup would be able to tell you the book, and I can't remember on the top of my head. But there's a book that is about Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress. And this is where Asajj, she became she became a bounty hunter, but she's not considered herself a Sith anymore.
Okay.
So.
I can kind of see the reason that, they would go against the Separatists, because it seems like they're obviously peddling in a lot of things that droids wouldn't have much of an interest in.
Yeah, like narcotics. I think droids droids don't need narcotics. Do they need narcotics?
No, they can't even use them.
No.
But it's also, well, maybe Grievous. He's a little
weird.
Yeah,
I don't think he can.
But yeah, and of course, the Separatists are gonna want to have the hold or the monopoly on basically all products, right? That's kind of their thing. So
that's true.
You can't thrive in that kind of environment because they're just going to take control of everything.
That's true. So now we get to the Age of the Empire. So I guess the Clone Wars part was actually pretty simple. After Palpatine transformed the Republic into his own galactic empire at the end of the Clone Wars, the Black Sun formed a durable relationship with the new autocratic government and kept watch over the Outer Rim. A year after the establishment of the Empire, Black Sun took notice of pilot Ahsoka Tano, although only knew her by her alias of Ashla, and did not know she was a former Padawan. After she intruded in their sentient trafficking, she, as the secret Force sensitive, had taken helping the people of the Outer Rim. So, this is all new stuff to me, honestly. Learning that
this is not Rebels. Okay.
This is before Rebels.
I haven't watched Rebels.
I think this is during the Ahsoka novel, because there is a novel
okay.
specifically for her, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And if you want to read it, get the audiobook version because it's the voice actress for Ahsoka narrating the book.
What's the name of this? I need it now.
It's just literally called Ahsoka.
I'm probably gonna get that right now.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's awesome. I still need to listen to it, but I found out that it's the voice actress who does Ahsoka is narrating the entire book. And it's like, we need more of this.
yeah.
I need more of the voice actors narrating books. Come on. Learning that Ashla had been hired by the Fardi clan, Black Sun knew they could pay her more than the smaller group, although they wanted her to work to make back the thousands of credits she had cost them. Thus, Black Sun ordered their agents to either hire or kill the pilot. When one Black Sun agent found her on the Outer Rim planet, Tano rejected the job offer, escaping on board her light freighter as the agent fired on her. And then, using their sleek starship, the agent pursued Tano, even as she concurrently realized her encounter with the agent had helped clear her mind of doubts. Tano, the agent's dogfight, was interrupted by Cardri Tag's starship, having been sent by Senator Bail Organa to locate Tano, and the agent elected to escape instead of attack the larger craft. After boarding Tag's ship and reuniting with astromech droid R2-D2, Tano rested aboard her ship when she arranged for it to float above the nameless moon and orbit of the planet she had fought the agent on. Even though she figured the agent would be preparing their ship, she was certain they were not hiding when she was. So yeah, this is definitely during that book. This is way before her reoccurrence in Rebels. And then during the Age of the Empire, Black Sun owned a Pathonian cruiser. At one point, Duke Blazor of the Black Sun expected money from Gato Gang, leading him to hiring bounty hunter IG-88. Gruti, a boss in Black Sun, was involved in an embarrassing incident on Ryloth, and the former Imperial cadets Sabine Wren and Ketsu Onyo decided to join Black Sun as bounty hunters. Okay, I don't remember this in Rebels at all either.
Why does IG-88 sound familiar, Ben?
Because he's one of the original bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
He's the droid bounty hunter. We see IG 11 in Mandalorian. IG-88 is just another model of that assassination droid line. And then, however, Ketsu got greedy, left her former classmate for dead, and joined Black Sun by herself. Years later, Ketsu accepted a Black Sun job to collect a G&K series power droid called EG-86. And if you don't know what a G&K series power droid is, it's a gonk droid. The droids that just go around gonk. That.
I'm very familiar with that sound. I played plenty of Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the good one.
Mm-hmm.
Not the new ones, but the older ones, the good ones.
Hey, the newer one's better now. Just the second one, just number 2.
Look, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, still one of my favorite.
The gonk droids is where you replenish your ammo.
I know. I'm just familiar with the sound because you just like walk around. You just hear gonk gonk just the whole time.
And which was carrying information vital to the rebellion. This mission brought her in a conflict with Sabine, who despised Black Sun for engaging in slave trafficking. However, the two former classmates reconciled and joined forces to escape the Empire and to deliver the droid to the rebellion. And then between 3 ABY and 4 ABY, the Crime Syndicate Crimson Dawn returned after a long absence and sent out a message to various criminal factions in the underworld. In the message, the Syndicate's current leader, Lady Kyra, invited other Syndicates to join the auction of the Carbonite encased Han Solo. And if you haven't listened to our Crimson Dawn episode, I go into all of that to where all these crime syndicates, funny enough, when Han was frozen in Carbonite, He was set at auction. He wasn't just taken to Jabba. He was put at auction, and all these crime syndicates went to try to get him, including Vader.
He pissed everyone off.
Vader's the one that, like, encased him, ordered him to be encased in carbonite, and he went to the auction to get him back to use him as bait for Luke. It's like, dude, you should have just kept him. You had him.
It's like Han, man.
Even though,
you gotta upset every
well,
single
I guess you
criminal
can
syndicate
say
in the entire galaxy.
Jabba had a bounty on him, and Boba was just fulfilling that bounty, and just Boba and Vader made a deal. Yada yada yada. Anyway, the Black Sun answered the call and arrived at the planet of Jakara, where one of their ships was hit by the Millennium Falcon. In response, the Black Sun sent out their fighters to restore the ship, though it managed to evade them and crashed onto the planet below. Guti then entered the Vermilion along with Zect and a few other Fallen. Black Sun bid on Solo during the auction, but they were quickly stifled by a mind trick done onto them by Imperial Sub-Administrator Sly Moore. The auction was won by Jabba. I'm not even going to say his full name. Jabba the Hutt of the Grand Hutt Council. Disaligic Toril. I don't know how. His name is so weird. I just call him Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Of the Hutt Grand Council, but his victory was short-lived as it was interrupted by the arrival of Darth Vader. Guarded by 2 Death Troopers, the Sith Lord declared that Solo belonged to him, and then ensuring chaos, Vader attacked several of the present syndicates, including Black Sun, forcing them to retreat from Jakara. And then now we get to the last portion of canon, which is the New Republic stuff. So this is everything after the original trilogy. So basically, everything that's really happening, like a Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all that. Or no, not even Obi-Wan, that's before. Everything in Mandalorian on.
So, the Black Sun so far in canon doing a lot better for themselves.
They're not getting destroyed on a regular basis.
They haven't been destroyed 3 times yet, so I think they're doing better for themselves.
In the time of the New Republic's founding, Black Sun was one of the several major crime syndicates operating in the Outer Rim. In 5 ABY, the Black Sun boss Gruti placed a bounty on the head of the Zabrak bounty hunter Jas Imari for debts incurred by her aunt Suji. Underboss Renskar and her henchmen abused Jas and Suji while they were visiting Nar Shaddaa for information on Han Solo's whereabouts. Josh managed to convince Renskar not to turn her in by offering to repay them double the amount she owed. Renskar also provided Joss with information about Han Solo's whereabouts. And then, shortly before the Battle of Jakku, the bounty hunter Muscule Shift decided to collect Gruti's bounty on Imari's head in the retaliation for her role in ambushing him on the planet Terrace. Later, Black Sun conspired with the upstart Red Key Raiders to prolong the Galactic Civil War. So, if you know the Battle of Jakku, play Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new one. You actually are in the events of the Battle of Jakku, which, Jakku being the planet where we see Rey for the first time in Episode 7. And, the Red Key Raiders, I believe, is another crime syndicate during that time as well, in the sequel trilogy, if I recall. And then Terrace I didn't realize Terrace was, in the canon, but Terrace is another famous planet in the Knights of the Old Republic games. In the first Knights of the Old Republic, you're playing on that. That's the first planet you go to. And once you leave, has an orbital bombardment on it, and it's decimated for thousands of years. Yay! Anyway, the last bit, they bid and blackmailed 5 New Republic senators: Ashman Erk, Dorwedo, Rethelo, Greco Sorko, and Nib Tarn into opposing Chancellor Mon Mothma's resolution to send New Republic Defense Force forces into the Inner Rim world of Jakku, where the Galactic Empire had retreated to. Their plot was foiled by a team led by Sinjir Belize and Han Solo, who manage to rescue Nibtar's child and convince the senators to change their votes in return for pardons and political favors. And that is what we got the Black Suns in canon. So the last bit of portion was mainly just, hey, they had a stake in at the Battle of Jakku, basically. And so far, we haven't heard of anything since.
Yeah.
So, I would imagine we might hear something like, in season 3 of Mandalorian, since that's coming around. And they have a bunch of other Star Wars live action. Ahsoka's next year as well. We have Andor this year. Actually, we have Andor that drops next month, actually. So that's going to be end of next month. Completely forgot about that till now. That's going to be 12 episodes. So it's the longest running Disney Plus show so far.
Dang, okay.
And we also have 2 animated shows this year, which is Bad Batch Season 2 and the Tales of the Jedi series, which is also set for this year. Tales of the Jedi, I believe, is going to be 6 episodes. 3 episodes stated with young Count Dooku and young Qui-Gon. It's basically going to show how Dooku became a Sith Lord. And then we're going to see 3 episodes based on Ahsoka before she became inducted into the Jedi Order, during her time there, and by the looks of the trailer, her time afterwards, because we actually might see how she gets her white crystals in animated form. Because you find out where she gets her white crystals from is in the Ahsoka novel.
Oh.
So they go over that and how she defeated an Inquisitor with no weapon whatsoever, while he had lightsabers. She defeated a Force wielder with lightsabers with hand-to-hand combat.
I mean, Ahsoka's pretty awesome. So
that's true. That's also true.
It's just cool.
But that's what we got this week. So next week we have our patron chat, which Toastie will be joining me again next week.
I'll be back.
We still need a topic, so we don't know what topic we're going over yet, but we will get there when we get there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything else from Genesis or Colonel yet, so I might have to get one up out of the fly, so we shall see. Yeah.
We'll do something fun.
Yeah.
Let's do something fun. Let's do something fun and silly, because that's us.
Pretty much.
And yeah, so
So
and if you want to see the patron stuff for Witcher, that's when
Monday.
does this episode release?
Ours released the same day.
The same day? You release on Mondays?
We release on Mondays. So if you're listening to
this podcast format, it will be later that night.
Yes.
So
9 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. And we'll see what we talk about there.
Yeah.
Probably something very sus.
Knowing that group, yes.
Yep.
Without a doubt. But we will catch y'all later. Have a nice one, everyone. And may the Force be with you. Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net. You can also follow us on Twitter at swholohistories and contact us at holocronhistories@gmail.com. I almost forgot to say the outro.
You can't forget to say the outro.
I know. I did
so
that.
bad.
I did that the last time we did a show together. Like when you were on for my patron chat, it was just us. I completely forgot to say the outro. I was like, how did I forget that?
Dear. Yeah. Tom doesn't let me forget mine, so it was fine. I came up with I feel good though, because I came up with mine. I just swiftly forgot it every single time. And he looks at me. He's like,
say it.
It's like, okay, cool, yeah. But yeah.
Well, if anybody's in the chat or viewing, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week. I don't know if anybody's watching.